often said that really you have to be very careful in the game of public life, because you can have a very innocent picture taken with someone. And as you can find out, if of course you are members of the British monarchy, very quickly that can escalate into, well, a worldwide story, one that you don't necessarily want to be associated with. Yes, I'm thinking of the Duke of York, the sort of thing. But of course, in this world of sort of selfies and digital age, everybody now wants a picture. We're all guilty of it. We like to capture the moment, and then we like to look at the pictures. And have you noticed as well, chums, when you go to any concert or show now, people are filming it, and I think, well, why don't you just get the DVD or whatever it's called? That's old fashioned now, isn't it? But why bother if you're just going to go down that route? Live in the moment is my motto. But pictures are wonderful memories, and there were certain pictures going through the years that apparently the British monarchy, or indeed their advisors, tried to ban. This is one of them. Let me explain. Morning, nice to see you in this blistering sunshine here today. Hope you're all keeping well. Yes, thank you for joining me. And thank you as ever for supporting these history, nostalgic look back videos. I'm glad you enjoyed them. As I said, really enjoy making them for you, because the fun, it's nice to have that memory jog, isn't it? Have a look at things that have gone past, or why they did that, or what happened. And you come away thinking, wow, as I often say, nothing's new. It's just the time frame that moves on. Yes, it is though, isn't it? Doesn't matter. When you look at an old ad for something. I was watching an old show on YouTube the other night, and they had this what do you call it? Like branded, we call it now, but it was something sponsor. And all the makeup and the hair and everything, I thought, wow, it's kind of just the same, but it's just a different style and a different era. Nothing ever really changes. Of course, if you're a royal, you have to be very careful, as I said, because things can change and they can escalate very badly. We've had a few royal scandals, haven't we? Even in the last few years. Who remembers this woman? Yeah. Do you remember when she kicked off about apparently, somebody being unkind to her, and it very quickly escalated? That's how bad things can go. An innocent picture like this, though, what could have possibly gone wrong with this? This is Prince Charles, as he then was, meeting a comedy legend, Sid James. Now, for those that don't know, Sid James was an absolute... Have we had a wave? Sorry, I don't know. Have we had a wave? Yeah, oh gosh, I'm so engrossed. Anyway, nice to see you. No, do tell me off. It's all right, I understand. We're all going, aren't we? Can't keep up. What day is it? Who am I? That sort of thing. But what's interesting here is it's a nice, innocent picture. But as I say, Sid James, if you don't know around the world, very much a beloved actor, very good actor, in fact, and starred in hundreds of films. There didn't seem to be a movie between the 1940s, late 40s, right through to the 70s that he wasn't in. But his kind of biggest incarnation would be that of the saucy Sid of the Carry On films. Now, if you don't know what the Carry On films are, they're like a series of films that are slightly seaside humour, a little bit on the, naughty side. Not today when you watch them, but at the time, very near the knuckle, the sort of thing. And what's interesting about this is that this particular picture was taken for the promotion of one of the very first films, Carry On Cabby. A brilliant film. If you haven't seen it, do check it out. Still very funny today, and including Amanda Barry. Yes, who's got a book coming out later this year, one of the stars of that particular movie. But Sid James, as I said, it would have been a coup to, be pictured with him. And we knew that Charles liked him because, well, the bottom line was he just liked comedians. We know he loved the Goons, very much Tony Hancock, stuff like that. So this is really how this would have come around. Now, I was lucky enough to meet the producers of the Carry On films, Gerald Thomas and Peter Rogers. And the bottom line is that they were the sort of people that, knew how to make a book, but they did treat people very well, despite what people said. However, it was meeting this particular lady, the blonde icon of Carry On, Barbara Windsor, who became a very good friend. Really, she told me this wonderful story about the backlash over that picture. You see, what happened was, and as I say, it's hard to imagine just what a big star Barbara Windsor was, beloved by the British monarchy. She was such a royalist, adored the Queen, and the Queen adored her, let me tell you. And of course, I've met others like Anita Harris, who played the nurse in Carry On Nurse and Carry On Up the Khyber, alongside the brilliant Phil Silvers. Just wonderful stories, they're, so kind to share with you. But Barbara said, and I just find this quite funny really, and hence the reason it's nice to be able to share it with you. apparently when this picture was taken, you know, it was, as I say, just to help the movie thing. And they had no idea really, the roles, what the Carry On films were about. They were just told it was a light comedy. Sid James was in it, etc. No problem. And then of course, once the movie came out, it became problematic, you see, because the bottom line was that obviously at that time it was seen as not the right thing for a royal to be stood with somebody who's in a bit of a raunchy movie. As I said, watch it now, it's not raunchy, but you know, time moves on and all that sort of stuff. So for many years, they were very keen for newspapers and magazines not to use it. And Barbara Windsor said that she found this very strange because, you know, she said, you know, why was it and all that sort of stuff. So one day she was having a chat with the Queen, and apparently the Queen said, oh yes, I know the picture you're talking about. Yes, she said, we thought it was dreadfully funny. And she said, oh, you know, the picture. She said, no, the film. We had it screened here in the palace. It was brilliant. We love all the Carry On films. And Barbara said she just didn't know what to do because obviously, you know, everybody being told behind the scenes not to talk about it at Pinewood and all that sort of stuff, you know, simply just don't bring it up, it's in bad taste. And yet you find out that, of course, well, the royals had actually seen it, loved the movie, and apparently Prince Charles, as he was then, now our king, King Charles, just adored Sid James, said he was a comedy genius. And Charles is a bit of a sort of, what's the word, a brilliance about comedy. He's, you know, got a long list of things that he used to listen to on the radio and, you know, with a lot of affection, met a lot of the people and has some wonderful stories too regarding those greats. You know, and on the other side of the coin, I've got to tell you this, I was absolutely beside myself one day. I was asked to go and, you know, do some interviews with people at Pinewood. Couldn't believe it. There I was standing next to the original gong of the movies, you know, that started the films. Yes, who remembers the Muscle Man banging the gong? There were a few of them actually, yeah. But you do, when you go to things, if you're a movie fan like me and you see these things, you think, wow, that was used. Papier-mâché, let me point out. Yeah, bit different. No, it's not the gong. No. But of course, it could have all gone wrong for the very young Prince Charles at that moment in time. Anybody else agree? If you have enjoyed this short story about those wonderful golden days of the movies, a very young Prince Charles, and of course the comedy group that was the Carry On films, and the brilliant Sid James, and the late and equally beautiful Barbara Windsor, if you could, please do like, share and comment respectfully. Neil Sean in the very heart of London.